actually Mothman per se. They may be, these things may, they may come from the same source. Dr. Donald Oben called it the phantom menagerie. I love that. And that they may not manifest in exactly the same way if they're not actually a flesh and blood cryptid.
Interesting. Now I sent you a film clip of Mothman in Sacramento, California. What's your thoughts on this, Steve?
You know what? I haven't watched it yet, I confess.
Steve, I'm very disappointed. Okay.
I know. That's demerits already. I'm going to go. I've got a corner over here. I'm going to sit in front of it.
Boy, I'll tell you.
Check it out.
Where's my bullwhip?
Do your worst. Do your worst.
Oh my God. Well, Mothman is supposedly sighted all over the place. I mean, in Chicago, Illinois, they said before 9/11, Chernobyl.
Right. But I'm kind of hesitant to buy into a lot of that. In fact, Richard Hatem, that wrote the screenplay for the Mothman Prophecies, he said that he might have actually made some of that up himself for the end of the movie, because he kind of told his own story.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, a lot of times they say that this thing was seen, but you hear about it after the fact. People aren't reporting it ahead of time. So, and the Chicago Mothman, there are some problems with that. When the sightings first started being reported, I had two sources from MUFON that told me that they were coming from the same IP address, many of them. There's a great researcher named Allison Jornlin who went and dug deep into the sightings, found a lot of problems with many of them, because, if you're making up a story about an area, you don't always get all the details quite right. So she found a lot of problems, but she did find a couple sightings that may be legit. And there may be some in that vast area that might be legitimate. But I don't think it's necessarily the same. It may, again, these things may be emanating from the same source, a force or intelligence we don't understand. But I don't think that they're necessary. We had in the 1950s, we had the Houston Batman people were seeing, and it almost looked like some guy was wearing a suit. In the early 2000s, you had the Wisconsin Man Bat, which looked very much like the bat. A father and son encountered it on the road. It brushed against their window. Really ugly looking thing. Definitely not looking like the Mothman was reported. And when they got home, they were very ill. They were very nauseous, and it took a while to go away. And there's just all kinds of legends of winged creatures and animals that all over the world. So I'm not sure that again, these things may actually all be coming from that same mysterious origin or source, but we can't count on them manifesting and looking exactly the same way.
Are we talking about more than one, or do you think like a whole race? Or do you think there's just one Mothman popping up in different places all over the globe, or what do you think of that?
I don't think so. I think that these cryptids, we get all kinds of variants on Bigfoot-like creatures, dog band-like creatures, and winged creatures. So I don't think that they're. I just don't think they're exactly the same thing. But again, they might manifest under the same. What do I want to say? The same underlying principles that we just don't understand.
So there might be more than one of itself possible, or just one being of himself. I guess I thought maybe I get the impression that some of these beings, there's more than one, but maybe they have one that's more like a scout, a soldier, or whatever you want to call that goes out of the area and then scouts around or looks at what's going on and then reports back. So you're not getting like 10 or 20 floating around the globe.
Well, there might have been more than one. I was down at event in 2009, the Paranormal Stage kids that had their show for a while,
Yeah.
they did a Return to Mothman weekend, which was a lot of fun. And so Chip Coffey was there. He said his impression was there were 4 of them, and he didn't elaborate much beyond that. And when the Scarberries and the Mallets saw this thing by the Old North Power Plant and took off, they rounded the corner on Route 62 to head back into Point Pleasant. They saw it standing right by this road sign. Well, they didn't know for sure if it was the same one or another one. So, we just really don't know. We don't know if it was more than one, or how, if I'm right, and if it manifested in a certain way, how it manifested. But again, it was, Keel found some odd footprints by the Old North Power Plant, and he, thought he attributed them to Mothman. And so, and of course, by the way, I want to make it clear that Mothman had nothing to do with the moth. He was dubbed Mothman because the Batman TV show was popular at the time, and some very creative copy editor, who we don't know his name, dubbed him Mothman, and so it stuck.
Hey, Steve, Moon at Noon X says, pictures can be projected into the brain using sound. Okay, there we go. Can you see that, Steve?
Yes. Yes. Well, in fact, John Keel thought some of these experiences, and he referred to the encounters with Men in Black, might be actually not physical encounters, but illusory, not hallucinations, but somehow this, whatever it is, force or intelligence, was manipulating the mind. And so that's possible. And he also pointed out that there were times when people would see a classic flying saucer or UFO, and in a group of people, but not everybody would see the same thing. Some wouldn't see it at all. Some people would see a different craft sometimes. So it suggests that there's something, perhaps like this individual suggested, that it's being projected into your mind. We really don't know what's going on.
Interesting. With the Sacramento